Chris Farley has been in my boat 4 times. Remember?
Oh, no kidding.
No way.
That's awesome. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Be Chris Farley, okay? So Chris,
Tommy like wingy.
huh?
Tommy likes wingy.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, we went muskie fishing.
You waited for an hour to talk
Tell us
about this?
Welcome back, folks, to another exciting podcast episode. We have a special guest today, Mr. Rich Reinhardt. Rich has been an integral part of the Wausau Muskie Show. Rich, welcome here. Thanks for coming by here this morning.
Good morning, Lee. Hey, Robbie.
Yeah. How's Florida right now?
Well, it's real pleasant this morning.
Yeah, I bet.
We are in shorts. It's comfortable, and you see, I've got a little sun. I've had Fisher Smith.
Yeah, I saw that
here, and we got some. He got coached in Florida style bass fishing.
Sure, nice.
That'd be cool. Fun.
Yeah, he enjoyed it. He I guess he ran past his dad. That he asked his dad if he could move down to Florida for about 3 weeks every winter.
Sure, right, absolutely. Can we all?
Exactly.
Months.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. What was he got his personal best? How big was that one?
Well, what's happening with the fish down here right now is there's a transition from spawning fish moving out to open water, out to the beds and limestone bluffs. Yep. And so what's happening is those fish can be really difficult to catch.
Yeah.
We managed to, I think, boat 3 or 4 fish in the 4.5 to 6 pound range.
Yep.
Nice.
He had a shot at what we call a 7-up.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a fish that we know when you set the hook and you just know that it's a big fish.
A lot bigger. Yep.
If it's a 7-pounder or a 10-pounder, but he had a shot at a couple big fish.
Gotcha. Well, that's cool.
That's cool.
Good open water stuff. But
today we're going to talk about what was perhaps the good old days of muskie fishing. I don't know. It leaves to be.
It's definitely a split decision on a lot of people. Right. Obviously, we had that video a few weeks ago, and definitely had some good discussion about it. But yeah, we have Rich here, and he's going to kind of tell us what he saw. 52 years of muskie fishing under your belt? I think you've seen some things.
Well, first of all, I'm down here in Florida.
Yeah.
I don't, I come back to Wisconsin during the summer months and in the fall, to fish muskies, and no matter what, I mean, the fishing down here is great.
Yeah.
But heart will always be with the muskie.
For sure.
I'm a muskie fisherman. That's what I am. And the thing that I have, I think, today, as well as even Lee. I mean, Lee, I notice you're getting a little more grayer here on the chin. But Lee's been around and he understands this, but I've got another 12 years or so on that.
Sure.
I know what was going on back then, what's going on now.
Yeah.
And
before we get into all that, we got to discuss something.
Sure.
The Wausau Muskie Bash. Holy crap.
Yes, sir.
There's a
Folks,
show this
there's
year.
a muskie show coming.
Yes, there is a muskie show coming. You had mentioned, Lee, about being instrumental with the show. 10 years ago, we started, the Wisconsin Muskie EXPO, and I wanted a little bit different format. As you all well know, there's certain people within the muskie industry that, are fairly well, they're in front of the public, the muskie public all the time, through magazines or, through different television shows. And instead of having those guys, I wanted, like in the case of the speakers, I wanted them to be actual fishing guides.
Sure.
Lee, you were a fishing guide on the Madison chain for countless years, and it was very successful. Tony Rizzo was one of the very first speakers. Every year I had Tony Rizzo speaking.
That's cool.
I just wanted muskie guides. And another thing I wanted to bring to the people was, there's a lot of great companies that manufacture muskie lures, but I wanted more grassroots tech companies intermixed with the stable companies. I mean, I would all say that Chaos Tackle would be considered a stable company.
Right.
I also wanted maybe, a company like, Big Guy Baits or Lee. Lee makes Lee lures, and people look at them They think that he just mass produces these things. He's one man. He makes these every day.
Yeah.
That's what he does. You know, he doesn't answer the phone because he's trying to make as many baits in the course of a day and make them correctly. He doesn't have other people doing that for him. So that's what I would consider a grassroots company. Sure. So I need more of those. So that was the basis. So
sure,
here we go. 2021. I mean, 2020, we have this thing, COVID.
Yep.
And it's made a mess of a lot of things, including public gatherings. And I just, here's my situation. The reason I moved to Florida is because I have health issues, one of which 40% use of my lungs.
Sure.
And I've had a lot of heart issues, and that's why I'm in Florida.
Yep. A little easier.
So for me to get COVID, it would be, as my doctor said, a permanent, situation for me. And so I learned a lot more about COVID than I really cared to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, we've checked with the proper people. We're having a show.
Yep.
And it's going to be slightly smaller, but it's going to have more of your grassroots companies.
Yep.
We've got 7 seminars. It's going to be March 19th and 20th. On the Friday, the doors will open at 2:00, and they'll go till 8. There's going to be a lure swap right after that.
Oh, right.
So we're going to have a lure swap.
Cool. It's always
and then the next day,
It's always the fun tradition at the Wausau show. the lure swap.
Yeah.
Yep. That's cool.
You know, and then Saturday, the doors will open back up again on Saturday morning at 9:00.
Yep.
Got some pretty good speakers.
Yeah, you got Mike Keys.
Mike Keys, Brian
Fisher,
Schaefer.
Brett Schaefer. Yeah. I mean, that's
Fisher speaking.
Yep.
Let me tell you, I just spent 2 days with this kid in the boat.
He doesn't talk at all, does he?
He's an animal. He's a little animal.
Absolutely. Just don't get him any Mountain Dew.
No, he got Gatorade from me.
Yeah, Gatorade, perfect.
But to watch that kid fish, he fishes like 30-year-old men.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
he is a
cool.
little beast. And I hear so many people, say, well, he's a 12-year-old kid. That 12-year-old kid can put it on those fish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's cool stuff. Yeah.
He's a smart kid.
So
he's going to be speaking.
Yep.
Joe McClung.
Okay.
Bob Kimball, very, very good guide. Puts a lot of good fish in the boat. Noah Binsfield will be speaking.
Cool.
Corey Wilson, he's a river rat. I'm sure
you
know who.
Yep.
So we got 7 seminars. There's going to be a host of booths there. Guys, in October. A lot of people said, "What about the big guys?"
Yeah.
The big guys. People need to understand something about big guys.
Big booth.
When they load up for a show, and they're going to set up 4 or 5 booths, they've got 180 to 200 man hours just loading a trailer.
Sure.
And when they load for usually 4 to 5 shows.
Right.
Yeah.
They load a booth. They
in
can't
one show. Yeah.
Their trailer for one show. That's the only reason they're not going to be there. It's not because they don't want to be there. It's just it's not financially feasible for them to, and then be there for a day and a half.
Right. No, for sure.
So
that makes sense.
But if you look at the people going to be there, they're all the same companies. Like I said, Red October Tubes is a nice addition. Ross's is going to be there. Tadpoles is going to be there. Pretty much everybody except a couple of the major booths.
Sure. So
plus some new people.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll probably end up swinging by on Saturday, and there's a chance I may bring a handful of baits, but I won't be setting up a big booth. But I'm hoping I can get enough built just to bring like a table full of a few of the swim baits or something like that. We'll see how it goes.
That's fine. I understand. I mean, you got to be inundated right now. I mean, I would say, Lee, probably some of the most popular handmade baits on the market right now, without a doubt.
I wish I could make more. But yeah, the Wausau Muskie Bash, the location, Rich, is
It's going to be at the Central Wisconsin Convention. I got to make sure I get this right. I'm getting older, as you know. It's the Central Wisconsin Convention and Conference Center. It's the same venue that we use for the Wisconsin Muskie Expo.
Yep. Right.
And the reason we changed the name, because for people the first time there, I don't want them to think this is the Muskie Expo.
Right.
We usually run about 130, 135 booths at the show. This is going to be about 80, but the booths that are coming, there's some tremendous people that are going to be there as well as regular stables.
Absolutely.
So,
no, that'd be fun.
Yeah, and there's going to be 7 seminars. There's good information. I think people are looking for that. It's always fun.
Oh,
this is my wife's highlight of the year.
Right.
No doubt. You folks do a tremendous job with the show. We're looking forward to it. I know everyone is looking forward to a Muskie show. It's in Rothschild, Wisconsin, which is right off the highway.
Very easy.
Easy out. It's just a no-brainer. Easy highway driving, and hopefully we won't get any snow. So.
Yeah, no doubt.
I hope not. It's March 19th and 20th. So.
Right on. Cool.
So,
well, let's jump into the rest of this. Gosh, where do we start? How the heck did you get into this muskie thing, Rich?
It's been so long.
Yeah. How the heck did you catch that bug?
Well, actually, I'll tell you what. I grew up in Central Wisconsin.
Yep.
I grew up close by to musky water.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's crazy. I got bit real bad, and I ended up with a case of muskieitis, like you guys do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's part of my life. It's been part of my life since I was 7 years old. I am now 60. I'm pushing 60.
Yeah.
And I've been I went from fishing muskies to then I got into the guiding business.
Yep.
Get an education with that, right, Lee? With all. But I guided, full time for 17 years. I would have probably continued guiding, but we had, some issues in northern Wisconsin. Everybody knows the Native American spearing, whether it was positive or negative, affected the business in northern Wisconsin. And, when you have a wife and kids to support, you got to keep the money rolling in. And it just, it wasn't stable. If you would have told me back then that it was not going to be a stable, that it was not going to be part of my life and that I was going to make a stable income, I would have thought you were crazy.
Sure.
But it did have an effect.
Yeah.
Northern Wisconsin has totally flipped.
Yeah.
To where, basically I would call Monaco, Wisconsin, Lake Geneva North.
Sure.
But back in the day, it was about, we would look at different, Boulder Junction, Arbor Vitae, who had the biggest muskies in their prospective townships. Today, you mention the word muskie and they go, is that an odor? They have what a muskie is. With some of the newer people, you see more jet skis and even with that, there is
wakeboarders.
Still
yeah.
It's, and it's changed a lot.
Yeah. No, it is busy. That's for sure. Where'd you start off guiding? Where was the first
Initially,
stop?
I started out guiding in Hayward.
Okay.
And as the guides, the older guides back then weren't, they weren't quick to accept a younger guide coming in.
Sure.
I think it's still that same. There's still that same history.
Right.
The established guides don't like the newer people that are coming in. And then they gave me so much grief. I just kind of moved over. And, one of the fortunate things for me, Tony Rizzo was like a second dad to me. And I think everybody knows who Tony Rizzo is.
Oh yeah. That's pretty cool.
And
wow.
So Tony had been wanting me to come over that way for a while, which I did. And honestly, I didn't really make a lot of noise. In order to be a guide, you have to basically hang out your sign and let people know your business.
Yep.
In the case of when I came over there, I was one of the guides taking Tony Rizzo's overload.
Sure.
So
you're
I
good.
didn't have to make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't, writing in magazines we didn't have videos back then.
Right,
We didn't have this,
Yep.
I think it's tremendous that you guys can utilize this and, and it's tremendous, but everything was word of mouth for us. So
Sure.
really my business was built through the overload of Tony Rizzo and word of mouth. And I was here, I was there doing seminars, that type of thing. I really didn't need it. My business was built, thankfully, because Tony,
yeah. That's super cool. Wow.
That's a big help.
Yeah, that's a good mentor. that doesn't hurt anything.
I'm going to tell you, I've spent a lot of time with Tony. I miss the man dearly.
Yeah.
Seen every side of Tony Rizzo. And I can tell you, back in the day, okay, basically in the late 70s, 80s, and even in the 90s, Tony amassed, and I know this for a fact, I had access to Tony's logbooks. When you would walk in Tony's basement, of course, he had a 41 pounder, that was mounted from Buckataben.
That's crazy.
He got that fish, and then, he had over 300 pictures on his wall of 30 pounds. Him, Tony and or his clients have caught.
Sure.
And all the he has 300. And I've read his logbooks. I've looked at everything. I've seen all the pictures. My wife has seen all the pictures.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
and,
that's cool.
The two largest fish his largest was a 47.5 pounder.
Yeah.
And then of course they had, I think I marked it for you. I was just going through some things. He guided his dad. I don't know if you can see this stuff or not, but he guided.
Yeah. Yep. Just a little higher. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was Tony's largest fish. Yeah. And the man to the other page, that was his dad. That was a 39 pounder.
Sure.
And in one of these books here, I've got a picture of Ed Brown's 46 pounder. Here it is.
Jeez.
These are all northern Wisconsin fish, people, right there.
Right.
Look at that.
Look at that chunk. Oh
Look
my.
at that stuff.
What is it? What was the length on it? Did it say?
54.
Sure.
Well, 54 inches. It was 46 pounds, 1 ounce.
Holy crap.
And I got that fish came from Star Lake.
Sure. Wow.
So
gosh, that's crazy.
We had big muskies in Wisconsin.
No, that's insane. Those are, could you imagine seeing those again? I mean, I wish I knew when was the last 40 pounder caught out of northern Wisconsin. I mean, there might have been one this year. Who knows?
This is the thing that drives me nuts about all this is when I look at what I saw back when I was younger, and Lee can, I know he can appreciate this because he's seen these. Back in the Vilas County Muskie Marathon, they registered fish.
Yeah.
You registered a fish for the top 10, and yes, back in those days it was different. They brought the fish in. The fish was weighed certified scale. That's just the way it was.
Yeah.
Can't change past. But in some years, the top 3 or 4 fish were all over 40 pounds.
Right. Which is incredible.
Gene Allen got a 51 pounder that was 51 inches out of the Flambeau chain, and it was registered.
Gosh.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I remember that.
80s isn't even that long ago. That's the crazy
That's
part.
right.
I mean, it's really not. I mean, granted, a lot of those big fish were killed, and I mean, it'll take time to, see that again, but
will we though?
Will we? That's the question.
That's my question.
That's the problem.
Will we see that?
Yeah.
Because personally, I've also, being around this, I also was fortunate to have spent time with the DNR. And listen, the DNR people, before anything is said, we've got some wonderful people that work for the DNR.
Absolutely.
And
they've done so much for our waters here in Madison. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think the people are great people.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that our DNR is run by the politics or politicians of the state. And so they're not always able to do the things they truly want to do.
Sure.
And, they've got to be efficient with the money that is given to them. And
right, which isn't a lot,
muskies,
no,
right. It's not.
And muskies is such a small portion, you talk about the salmon fishery, you talk walleyes, and I mean, the probably biggest thing was that walleye thing that we had happen. What was that 4 years ago? The walleye initiative. I mean, that's so much hatchery space, and I mean, that's just it's hurting the muskies, I would say.
Here's the thing with the walleye initiative. Okay, the walleye population is tremendously down. Why? Yeah. Let's be honest. The Native American spearing has hurt the population tremendously. I watched it happen. I saw the walleyes that were coming in, seeing the walleyes that were dumped in the woods. This isn't hearsay. It's fact.
Yeah.
I watched muskies that were speared, that were put up for sale to individuals that got bought, or fish that got dumped. I saw all that.
Sure.
Fact. I watched the Native Americans spit in Todd Powell's face, and then Todd Powell got taken off by the Vilas County Sheriff's Department, and it was okay for them to spit in his face, but he's the one who got taken off and put in a squad car.
Sure.
That's facts.
Yep.
My kids went to Lakeland High School, and I saw let's just say the racism, if you want to per se, towards white people as opposed to Americans. That's fact.
Yep.
Okay. Try to hide all that. But this walleye initiative was to replace the walleyes that have been speared. And honestly, being in this business, I'd watch fishing guides go out, catch a limit of walleyes.
Which was a big thing. Yeah.
Fillet the fish because they wanted to eat their walleyes, and go back and take another party and take
limit.
Yeah.
Which that's huge too. Yeah. Everyone. I mean, it's not like we're trying to point the finger at one thing.
I'm not pointing fingers at anybody.
Yeah.
No.
It's just
humans are bad for fish.
Yes, that's probably the biggest thing. Humans are bad for fish. I mean, we can look at what? I mean, another thing like Mendota perch. Let's talk about Mendota perch for a second. Like, people killed that.
In 1999 and 99 and 2000. You could go out there in the winter, drill a hole, and pretty much, catch a limit of perch if you had half a clue what you were doing.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, we'll never fish it out." People came from everywhere, Dakotas, all out of state, and decimated the perch population. And now they blame it on the northern pike. It's like,
right. Or no, it was the catfish for a while.
Right.
Killed, but then we got those. Too. They killed those out of there too, which is just, it's just sad. It's sad.
Humans.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the biggest thing.
I agree with you 100%, Lee. It's just
greed. It's a lot of greed. Yeah.
Yes. And so we got this walleye initiative to replace the fish for once, because they're still allowed to spear.
Yeah, that'll never change. And I mean, I get it. It's part of, it's
tradition.
Part of the heritage. I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one thing, and Lee knows this. Lee's known me a long time. I'm going to be just straight up. I'm not going to, I may not always say the things people want to hear. And they don't believe, but I'm not going to, if I see it with my own eyes. I saw what happened, in northern Wisconsin. That's why I northern Wisconsin.
Yeah. Which is
for that very reason, because I watched the decimation of our lakes.
Yeah.
And it did happen.
So when did the spearing all get popular, really?
Well, I think when it really took off, was basically in the mid to late 80s. I think they always speared. Here's the thing.
The popularity.
Right, exactly. And they kept going.
And the popularity of muskie fishing, like all those guides, I mean.
Grew at the same time.
Yeah, which big fish were getting killed too with, the guides and fishermen. And then you got the spearing getting popular, which is, it's all,
Well, here's the thing that people need to realize also. They list numbers, as far as speared fish, they talk about the spring time spearing. What people don't realize is they're also allowed to spear during the winter months, and that's when most of the damage is taking place.
Sure.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know, because as Lee well knows, up in northern Wisconsin, if you're a guide and you got unless you're going to a show, what do? Well, you work on musky baits and put new hooks on them, And what I would do is go out to the lakes, and I would, I wasn't there to start trouble, but I would talk to some of the Native Americans. And I think I probably, back then, we didn't have cameras on our phones and stuff like that.
Right.
But when you see 10 or 11 fish laying on the ice, I mean, how many muskie fishermen on a consistent basis catch 10 or 11 muskies in a day on a consistent basis?
Right. It doesn't happen.
I mean, a few times, but not. And I know you have done it plenty on the Madison chain.
Nah, just one.
So,
for me, anyways. Well, you had a couple few.
Listen, before season, I used to come down to Madison chain. Do you remember Travis Richardson,
Sure.
Lee? I'd come down before our season opened up.
Sure.
I'd come down to fish Wabisa and Monona. And I remember several days that we had where we had anywhere from 6 to 9 muskies in the boat.
Yeah.
It was crazy stupid back then. And then in Wabisa, they were all tigers.
Oh, sure.
Right back then, yeah.
That's cool.
A lot of people don't realize that, but we caught some real nice tigers. I think the best day we had, we took Bruce Schwingle from Dorn Hardware Sports. Remember Bruce?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we caught 11 fish. We caught 11 muskies in the afternoon on Rizzo Whizzes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And then I spoke at the Capital City Muskies Inc. meeting after that.
Yeah.
It was quite a story that, Bruce, told the people what
That's
had happened.
funny. Yeah.
So
that'll do.
But anyways, this wasn't about spearing. What has happened is you brought the walleye initiative. So everything is being poured into the walleye initiative because the walleye fishermen scream the loudest.
There's more of them. Yeah. There's a lot more of them. Yep.
I think muskie fishermen need to quit fighting on Facebook, and they need to get together and become unified.
One. Yep.
As one, and start, because they all have the same passion.
You're right. They want
I think
big
they need to
muskies.
say, hey, let's get it back together again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great point. Yeah. It's not.
So
fighting amongst each other is just never gonna be the thing. I mean, what walleye guys, they can all just go with each other and be like, yes, we want. A lot of them just want fillets when they go up to their Northwoods cabins.
Right.
I mean, a fish dinner here and there. So a lot of people
which
want
brings
that.
you back to the muskies.
Right.
So if the muskies are being speared and they're stocking muskies back into the lakes, then we come back to why aren't we producing those 40 pounders anymore?
Sure.
Because quite frankly, they have to be really efficient with the money they have. And as I said, I've been out with, the DNR when they were pulling the fight nets to pull the eggs. And basically when you look at, that area of Wisconsin, those eggs go to, the Woodruff hatchery on Highway J. And most of the eggs come from basically big arborvitae, little arborvitae, the thoroughfare on Minocqua Lake. And they all come and at times they've taken them from Sweeney and a couple other lakes.
Yeah.
So, you and I, when we were talking one time, Robbie, I had mentioned to you, I know this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but at one time when I was younger, you could lay a turtle flambeau muskie if you had taken the muskies from the lake and laid them on the ground. And if you had a Chippewa Lodge muskie, a turtle flambeau muskie, a muskie from Big Arborvitae, or a Buckataubin Lake muskie, I can tell you the identity of each one of those fish. I'd bet you $1,000 I would get it right every time.
Sure.
Because they had their own.
Yeah.
They had their own DNA. And and if you look at some of the older days, like I have a picture here somewhere of Dick Slate who took Rita Hillenbrand out and got a 50 pounder.
Yeah, 53
that
pounds.
Was very common on the turtle flambeau. Those fish were big heads, big tails, and just chunk on them. Big bodies.
What year was that again?
This was back in late 70s, early 80s.
Sure.
Oh, this fish was back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Sure.
If, even like Tony Rizzo, Penny's got a picture of Tony hanging up in her computer room.
Yeah.
Here, look at this. This was common, in Wisconsin. Look at this. That fish here, this fish over here was a 30 pounder.
Right. Right.
This here was this one on the other page is a 35 pounder.
Just
I know where
amazing
the picture
animals.
We were talking about Dick Slate's picture. One of the guides in Wisconsin, up in the Lake Tomahawk area, was Ray Kennedy. He's got a 50 pounder out of the Minocqua chain. Here's one of his customers with a 44 pounder.
Gosh.
The video is I can show you pictures and pictures of 40-pound fish that were caught in Wisconsin, as well as the Chippewa flowage.
Yeah, no doubt.
Could you find, the Dick Slate picture? We'll show you a picture of that 53 pounder.
Yeah. Gosh, that's crazy
I've
stuff,
seen some
man.
monstrous fish. When I would tell people that I saw a mid to upper 40-pound class fish, say on the turtle flambeau flowage, they would look at you and like today, they would look at you like you're nuts.
Right, that didn't happen. Yeah, you're lying.
Here's the picture of that fish. I'm not used to all this camera stuff, but you can see. Look at that, 53. That was very typical of turtle flambeau fish. Robbie, I would catch a 46-incher.
Yeah.
It would weigh between 30 and 32 pounds.
Sure, just freaks.
Turtle flambeau back then. Now, I had that time back then in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yep.
Today, can you still get one of these whales? Yes, but they're not as prevalent. Mm-hmm. We're catching stocked muskies, which you can see the bars, the difference, the build of the fish as opposed to fish we used to catch back then.
Sure. Yeah.
You get a 37-incher, and you couldn't even get your hand around the tail of a 37-incher.
They're impressive.
Yeah,
animals.
Rich, that particular fish you just showed, that's the fish that really inspired me to spend a lot of time on that body of water on turtle flambeau. And to this day, the longest fish I've ever seen in Wisconsin was on turtle flambeau. And had never caught a 50 out there, got fish up to like 48 and a half, I believe. And but yeah, I've definitely seen some super monster 50-inch class fish in there. Granted, more than 10 years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
When did you see? It was like what, almost you'd say maybe a mid 50, like 53, 54?
Oh, it was definitely over 53. That 53 to 55 range I saw.
What year was that? Was that
Town Line Basin? That would have been probably. It's definitely over 20 years ago now.
Sure.
So, I lived up there in 1999.
Oh, is that when you saw that thing? When you were living up there? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that keeps it going.
That's a long time ago.
Gosh,
but
that's
anyway,
cool.
Yeah, that lake historically produced some really big fish.
Giants, yeah.
I was very fortunate. I had Bill Tutt, take me under his wing and teach me that water. And that's where basically, talking about the old days, I spent my early part of the season on the Chippewa flowage.
Okay.
The Chippewa flowage is a better, early season.
Sure. June,
July, up till about August.
Yeah.
Really good early morning bite on the Chippewa flowage in the first or second week of August. You get out there at 4:00 in the morning and you start, working some creepers over the bars.
Sure.
And you're going to put some fish.
Yeah.
But most people don't want to get up at that time.
Yeah, sure.
They, put the effort into it.
Right.
But then I would move to the turtle flambeau because I found that the turtle flambeau was definitely a better fall flowage as far as consistency.
Yeah,
and
agree.
Moved to a lot of nice fish. We caught a lot of nice fish. I've got 17 fish out of over 30 pounds in Wisconsin, and a lot of them came from the turtle flambeau flowage.
Yeah.
And though I don't have a lot of 50-inchers, because I fish for those genetics, believe it or not, a lot of those fish were 46, 47, 48, and they would be 30, 31, 32, 33 pounds.
Yeah, which are incredible.
I've had my customer's largest fish on the turtle flambeau was a 37-12, and that fish was 51 and a half inches long.
What time of year?
That was in September
Jeez.
20. be exact.
Gosh, those Wisconsin
About
whales,
what year
man.
was that?
I want to say right around 82, 83, right in there.
Sure.
Okay.
Gosh,
So
that'd have
now-
been so cool without any GPS back then. That had been
yeah.
scary. I mean, what kind of boat were you running out there without hitting crap?
Tuffy,
A Tuffy?
Tuffy.
Oh, jeez.
E-Sox Magnum. Yeah. I ran E-Sox until they came out with the Magnums, and then
Yeah.
I still run a Magnum. I'm in Florida. I got E-Sox Magnum sitting out
Sure.
my car.
Oh, that's awesome. People are like, what
look
the
at me
heck
like
is
I'm an
that?
alien down here.
Yeah. That's cool.
So,
But yeah,
one of the guys. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead. You're
I
good.
was just going to tell you this, Robbie. You and I talked. We talked about doing this last night.
Yeah.
We're talking about butternut and
Sure.
how it's not a small fish. In actuality, years ago, butternut had a reputation for putting out 35 pounders. Matter of fact, one of the guides that used to guide on butternut is Brian Long.
Nuts.
There's a big fish from that area right there.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
There you
And
go.
this is Price County, right?
That's Price County.
Butternut, correct. Yeah.
I'm telling you, in the old days, there was a lot of big fish caught.
Yeah.
If you look at the Violet County Muskie Marathon, here, this is Marv Heeler from St. Germain, 42 pounds. 42 pounds.
That's just insane.
A lot of big fish caught in Sonata County.
Yep.
The younger generation doesn't understand that
Yeah. No,
because
for
they
sure.
weren't there.
Right. They didn't
And
witness
Why are
these
they not
giants.
caught now? That's the big question.
That's just the big. I mean, I get all the arguments. I mean, so a lot of fish got
I
killed
believe
at
it
that
has a
point.
lot to
A
do
lot
with
of big
genetics,
ones. But yeah, I mean, that's another there's something else to it. I don't know. You should hear about a 40-pounder once every 2 years.
With the equipment, the boats that everybody
Side
has,
imaging. Yeah.
there should be 40 pounders caught.
Mhm.
They're not. Everybody's argument's going to be, well, because they killed them all.
Which
Okay,
it's part of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
there, right? And that's exactly right.
Right.
But if they have the genetics, you should still be catching 35 and 40 pounders.
hmm
Kept track of my big fish. Tony instilled in me about keeping records.
Yeah.
And my big fish, the average big fish is 47 inches.
Sure.
Now, do I believe forage has a factor in that? Yes, to a degree. The fertility of the lake? Yes.
Yep.
But I still think genetics is a very important factor. And the only reason, it was on one of the muskie sites, I think it was Muskie Fishing Tips and Tricks,
Yep.
but somebody that kind of came after you, Robbie, of not, agreeing with you from the Larry Ramsell
Sure.
interview when you guys did that.
hmm
And I agree with Larry. And somebody pointed out, where's the facts? Where's the facts? Well, you know what? Here's
There
the
it is.
fact.
Yeah.
We have copies of all this stuff from the DNR.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
What, it goes back to like the 36, I think, 32.
I've got all the charts. And the DNR is even mentioning the fact how they crossed the genetics.
Yep. Well, which
they-
is cool right now with their new DNR's new management program that started I believe 2006, right after all this crazy stuff went down. And it sounds like they got, it sounds like good things are happening. I hope
so.
I hope that plan, what they're doing right now is the end all be all because they have with that plan. I think they acknowledged back in that study you just held up. They acknowledged that stuff got mixed, and that's why they want to keep it pure right now.
And I'm cool with that as long as they do it.
Yep, and I hope it works out. We'll see. It's time will tell. This isn't this is not a couple year fix. It'll take a while.
And that's the shame of it because in my life right now, I'm probably not going to see it.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting. 30 years, who knows? If it all works out and they figured that out, I mean, who knows?
I give, here's the thing, back in the day, muskie fishermen today, well, fishermen in general, they go to those spring hearings.
Yeah.
And so that Reinhardt can hear what they're thinking. Yeah, I did that too. And I think to a degree, I think that's good.
Yeah.
But I think I used to go to the meetings, the Conservation Congress meetings.
Mm-hmm.
The DNR lawyer was sitting right there along with the Capitol Police, making sure everybody, stayed in line.
Sure.
I think muskie fishermen today need to get a little bit more involved, a little more educated in what's going on.
Yep.
When I was guiding, I had a family that I had to support, and guiding and working. Lee will tell you, you have to be very diversified in this industry to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
And Lee's done excellent. I think he's done probably one of the best jobs of anybody, because, he's got the lure business. He was guiding. He's got this,
platform,
technical, he's got Today's Angler. You guys do all this, this cool stuff. And through all of it, I'm sure your guys are making a living, but a lot of people want to come into this business thinking that they're going to make big money and fish every day. That's not what happens.
No.
They have the wrong concept of what's going on.
Yeah, you got to love it.
Fishermen that are fishing today, and that's all they're worried about is going fishing.
Yeah.
They don't.
I'm sorry, Rich.
No, go. I'm listening.
I was just going to say there. You made me think of the Muskie stamp, and back in
gosh, that would be awesome.
The mid 2000s, I was talking with Pete Mena and fishing with him at the time, and we kind of made this push of the Muskie stamp at the Conservation Congress hearings, and it just got shut down harder than a brick.
What year? 2005?
2000.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's probably 2006, I want to say.
Do you remember what it was all entailed? Like, was it just a stamp to fish muskies? Or was that a harvest deal?
It was a harvest stamp, one per year.
Yep. So that means everyone would. Yeah. Okay.
So, but basically just to put that money into muskie. And I think I speak maybe for most muskie fishermen. I'd throw
a $100 bill every year. A lot of people would.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, in a heartbeut. If it goes directly to muskie fishing, that's amazing.
If I know that money's going to go to muskie fishing, I would gladly pay $100. $100. If they get it like $10 or $20 or whatever, I would gladly give more.
Sure.
Make sure, as long as I know it was going to muskie fishing. Lee, that's amazing to me. I vaguely remember that. Mm-hmm. Just so, since in this past year I've had 3 strokes. So when you're giving me dates and stuff,
it's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, I used to. I was pretty sharp.
Yeah,
and I was on top of all this stuff.
Yep.
And now I have to write notes, or I need to go back and look at things. To remember, to remind myself.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Here's a picture I sent to you. We were talking about fishing, Lee, last night, and this was a typical Chippewa flowage muskie. See if I can do this right. Over. Look at that chunk.
Oh yeah.
I'm not tipping that. That was one of my customers.
Yep.
That was a typical Chippewa flowage build.
Sure. Giant.
You're not seeing that build anymore.
Yeah. I saw
orange. I don't know.
Wait, Matt,
Robbie,
maybe that's the case. There were some giants caught.
A couple nice, there was a few nice fish caught out there this
there's a couple giants this year. Yeah, early August, I believe. Right when that first cool down after the major heat, there's some flipping giants caught, which is cool to see, which is very exciting. Maybe things are working out. It's
right.
Who knows? It's just something that we should discuss and all be on the same page. Because who knows? I don't know.
I just want it to work out for the future muskie
fishermen. Yeah. Keep northern Wisconsin. Larry, one of the quotes is the muskie built the schools in northern Wisconsin. This is a very important fish to the whole state of Wisconsin. It's our state fish. We should really take care of it.
Wisconsin's the heart of muskie fishing, and I think a lot of surrounding states around us have done a much better job in their their muskie program than actually I think we have.
Right.
Surpassed us.
Sure.
And I've been like Lee. I mean,
we probably have one of the hardest states to manage, though, with all the different
because
water.
we have so many different types of water.
Which I can understand.
And that's why one size limit doesn't fit all lakes.
Sure.
I suggested to the DNR years ago, if you have a Class A musky lake, put a 40-inch size limit. If it's a Class B, maybe put a 44 or 45-inch size limit on it. And if it's I'm just examples here, okay?
Yep.
If it's a lake like Trout Lake up in Valles County, 50-inch size limit. Because here's what they do understand. Fish basically top out the average muskie, the everyday muskie, like an average man walking around, top out at about 51, 52 inches. Now, there are Michael Jordans out there. Sure there are. And there's not, and not every man is 7 foot tall.
Right.
One thing I've learned when they stock muskies, and I'm sure you've seen this also, Lee, when they stock muskies, have you ever noticed when the fingerlings are in the net, there's a few different fish that are larger than the rest of them that are in there?
Sure. Yeah.
No, that's a great point.
The behemoths.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the big dogs.
Wow. Yeah. Or just has that, it's in them to eat more or something, to grow more. Yeah. That's a great point. I've never thought of that one. Yeah. Huh.
I mean, Lee, you've traveled all over this country fishing muskies. I've traveled. I mean, I've fished muskies in Minnesota, Canada, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia. I've been around and I've sampled the fishing in other states. I mean, somebody just got a 55-incher in West Virginia.
Yeah.
They're doing it. I think one of the Muskies Inc. members just got a 48. I mean, granted, the
there's
weather
some giants down there. Yeah.
To do that, but there's some big fish being caught in a lot of places. I mean, most fishermen don't realize that there's 75,000 acres in Tennessee that are not getting touched by muskie people.
Sure.
And I know, Lee, you've done this. It's funny, in my younger years, I used to travel around and fish all these cool places like you guys are doing now.
Yeah.
And then I had to settle down. I was guiding and paying my bills and taking people fishing.
Yep.
And then when I got, older, I started doing a little bit of that traveling. And no matter where I've been, everybody knew that Lee Talkin was already there. Lee just left. Yeah, I've heard that several times. Lee just left.
That's funny.
But for the record, a lot of people have said, Lee, how come you don't fish Canada now? And for the record, I have fished a lot of the great waters in Canada. Lake of the Woods, Winnipeg system, Lac Seul, where I caught my first 50, a 54.5-incher. And quite honestly, when the Minnesota thing got rolling, it was much better.
10 times better, I'd say. To consistently get a 50-incher.
Yeah,
you can't touch
every 3 days.
3 days, have a shot.
Have a shot. Yeah, it's crazy.
Or
but
more.
Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there for a fun
fact. Yeah.
You're exactly right, Lee. I remember a friend of mine that he was from Wisconsin. He owned a resort on Lake Holcomb.
Some giants out of there.
Yes, there's some really good fish. Historically, yes. But he came up to fish Mille Lacs, and I told him how good the fishing was, Lee, just to relate to this. And we took him out just for an evening. Paul Hartman, myself, and Randy went out. I think that night we moved, 38 fish in an evening of fishing, and in one spot, back and forth working the North Shoreline up in Mille Lacs.
Sure.
And I think probably 8 or 10 of those fish were actually between probably from 48 to 53 inches.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow.
If you wouldn't have seen it, you wouldn't have believed it.
Wow.
That's like Minnesota
That's why
stuff.
he went.
Yeah. No, this is Minnesota
crazy
stuff.
Oh.
It's talking North Shore Mille Lacs.
Oh, on Mille Lacs.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, guys from Holcomb.
I got it.
Yep.
I'm fine.
It was a guy from Holcomb that came up to fish with us.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
And so it was
incredible.
fishing different in Minnesota. But I had mentioned about the politics in our DNR. The politics are starting to enter into Minnesota.
Oh, it has entered, yeah.
Starting.
It has been for years, but it's getting real bad. What's happening now? They don't want to stock muskies in Minnesota.
Which is awesome. Did you see that new report came up for the Muskie Diet? So that's finally all finalized. They got that public. Like the percentage of walleyes in their stomach. I think muskies were more in their stomachs than walleyes. Yeah. That could have been a different. I don't know, but it's super cool that that's out now. They got the data from that, so hopefully that's gonna change some people's minds, and they'll get back to what they want to do. Because that DNR, they want to stock muskies. They knew what that did. I'm sure they know what that did to the tourism.
For that state.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Look at all the muskie fishing. Let's see. I want to say in the late '90s. It was a big thing. Muskies, it was crazy in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And, it just, I watched right down the tubes. The fishing back there was phenomenal. I remember the first time I fished with Paul Hartman. We were fishing in downtown Minneapolis.
Sure.
I don't remember the exact number of fish we saw that night, but it was
metro.
Big number. It was like, we saw like 25 fish that night.
Yeah.
We boated 3 or 4. Had 11 fish hooked.
Yeah.
We're talking about downtown Minneapolis, women running on the lake in black spandex, exercise.
Yeah.
And Paul's saying, "Did you see that?" I said, "Would you have a follow-up?" He goes, "No, the one up there in the spandex." I was looking for a fish, dude. I'm watching my bait.
Wait, yeah.
That's what was going on.
That's hilarious.
In that time frame.
Yeah.
So, they had a tremendous program, and it just went.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's sad.
So,
but yeah.
The same thing. Minnesota's got good people in their DNR, just as we do in the state of Wisconsin.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing, we need to remove the politics from the DNR.
Sure.
Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think,
Sounds
Lee?
difficult. That
sounds difficult. Yeah.
But no, from what Robbie, I was chatting with the other evening here about the Wisconsin Muskie program. He had kind of an earful from a couple of individuals. Sounds like it sounds like it's definitely on the up.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean, I got an email back from one of the guys that work in Spooner, and they said in recent years there's been a lot more 50s in their nets. So maybe things are working. I would love to have one of them on to talk about what they're seeing, because with the new program and seeing what they're seeing. But fortunately, I don't know. We got to find somebody. But there's a lack of interest to come onto this platform at the moment. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens. I hope that's going to be the cure, is what they're doing right now.
Well,
we'll just have to see.
It seems like the lack of interest for people to come on this platform. We want an equal platform. We want everybody to come on and tell us their point of view. And the fact that we've had other people on that maybe are opposing views, don't necessarily reflect our views. We just want everyone to have a
discussion. Yeah. People can hear it. Yeah. No, I would love to hear from everyone. I mean, Rich, you brought up amazing points.
Did you ask the DNR to come on to do this? Or?
Yeah. Both of them declined at the moment.
They did decline.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing.
I mean, they were very polite about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. And like I just said, there are some great people working for the DNR, but I think as you climb the ladder higher, within the DNR, the people that are at the state level, I think that they're lost in what's really going on within the state of Wisconsin.
Sure.
Because they're stuck in office.
Right. They're not at the lakes. They're not fishing. It's
no.
Right.
Not at all.
Nets will only tell you so much.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. They should be transparent. It's our fishing license dollars and the grants they get to keep the program going in the state of Wisconsin. They should be transparent and tell the people what's really going on. And even though I live here in Florida, I mean,
Mhm.
we've got people here that are always on the phone with me from Wisconsin, telling me what's going on.
Sure.
You know, that my network is pretty large, so I hear a lot of things. I mean, and I've got guys. I've got a guy that when I'm up there, it takes me make sure I get on the water muskie fishing.
Mhm.
I mean, he's a big. Your guy's Jake Bray, and he's one of those unsung, voices in the state of Wisconsin
Mhm.
that wants a fish, and he wants answers and wonders why he's not getting it, because the man he's a devout muskie fisherman.
Okay.
He's very good at what he does, and yet he wants a big fish and wants to know why he's not getting it. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to give that guy a shout out because he thinks you guys are great. He loves the fact that you have brought this format,
Sure.
the last few you've had on,
Yeah.
and talking about this. So he
Cool.
thinks that's wonderful. I mean, last week you had Steve Herbeck.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Herbeck's caught some big fish.
Oh yeah. He saw it.
Where did
Yeah. He goes.
he saw it?
What did he say? He's like, yeah, I could kind of see it going down a little bit, and then Canada came, and it happened at the right time. He was able to leave.
Right.
So-
Steve Herbeck is one of the, I think, I remember having breakfast with him one morning at the Nina Sports Show years ago.
Sure.
I was thinking about this last night, Robbie, and he told me that his goal was he wanted to be the best big fish, big musky fit guide out there. And I think he's accomplished that.
yeah.
I
no
also,
doubt.
in Boulder Junction, getting frustrated, and I remember when he left. Why?
It's a
Wants
great
bigger
question.
fish.
Yeah. And he went
That's all he
somewhere
wanted.
he went somewhere where he has that now. Well, hopefully
Exactly.
after all
I
this.
mean, look at the
goes
fish
away.
that Lee has got.
Yeah.
He's got, but he had
Traveled
to
for
travel
it. Yep.
to go find them.
Yeah. No
I
doubt.
wish that back then I would have had the insight. You had the insight to do that, Lee. You went out and you wanted big fish, and I just kind of, I stuck right in Wisconsin doing my everyday thing
Yep. Which is
with
great.
not going, to travel. But you went out and you found them, and you
Yeah.
got some tremendous fish under your belt. Impressive.
I don't want to keep
Well, the
saying that.
fisheries make the guide.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, without a doubt.
Thank you. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
The fishery makes the guide.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it's amazing what some of the guides up here are still doing with, the fisheries in northern Wisconsin. I mean, it takes a lot of years to get
There's
that
some
good,
good
though.
guides up in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
but they're on top of, they're doing things a little bit differently.
Yep.
The thing with guides, and I think, Lee, you can probably answer this as well. Most of when I was based out of Minocqua,
Yep.
Woodruff, Arborvitae. Most of the people that we would have come to that area were white collar workers,
Mhm.
business people.
Sure.
We had very influential people that would either visit and or had second homes in that area.
Sure.
I'll give you, for example, Chris Farley has been in my boat 4 times. Remember?
Oh, no kidding.
No
That's
way.
awesome.
Listen,
Oh, you got to
Tommy
be
boy.
kidding me.
Be Chris Farley, okay? So Chris
Tommy
would
like wingy.
huh?
Tommy likes wingy.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, we went
No,
musky fishing.
You waited for an hour to talk
Tell us
about this?
You'd be amazed of the people that I've had. I've had Dale Earnhardt in my boat. You see, when you take people like that fishing,
Dale Earnhardt?
you can't close that. Yeah, I've had Dale Earnhardt. My wife's got a signed hat from Dale Earnhardt from years ago.
Wow. Senior, right? Obviously.
Senior.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
talking about senior.
Gosh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Wow.
You had, like, here, for instance, the do you remember the movie Dances with Wolves?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. Well, what, Penny? Oh, my age is showing. But that movie owned all that land up there, has a place just up by Presque Isle,
Sure.
or Randy Travis, or Barbara Eden.
Yeah.
There's
Sure.
the
No, it's a
people-
beautiful area. Absolutely.
Exactly. They would come there. But here's the thing. When those people would come, or just people would come, they didn't want a 30-pounder.
They want to
They
catch
want-
action.
They wanted to catch they wanted to catch a muskie.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Lee, what do you do when somebody wants to catch a fish? You
Go
put
to
them
action
on
water.
action lake.
Yep. Which is,
And most of my customers wanted that.
yeah.
They wanted
Absolutely.
to catch a 36 to 40 incher. And
And they're good with it, which is cool. And that's what's awesome about northern Wisconsin. You can do that. You can do that.
Right.
And then it's just a bummer. Those trophy lakes, they are very hard to do it. Very hard.
And that's what Tony Rizzo did. Tony Rizzo.
He had the trophy hunters.
They came with him. He had some very influential customers that wanted just nothing but big fish.
Giant. Yes. Yep.
And so that's how we're...
Same with Steve Herbeck, I would say, too.
Same thing with Steve Herbeck.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep, their clientele wanted the biggest, baddest fish.
Today. Yeah,
right.
I'd like to ask the guides right now out there how many 50-inchers they've caught in the last 5 years.
Yeah. No, it'd be awesome to... the biggest, big fish name, I would say, in the area up here is Scott Keeper. He's got some giants under his belt. Absolute... Probably one of the hardest working guides to ever, live up here. Anywhere.
16 hours a day.
Yeah. Gosh, just incredible.
One thing I think about when it comes to trophy fish waters and, the fact that I've been able to travel and fish some other waters, of course, the Minnesota waters, the one thing that just seems to be different in fishing northern Wisconsin versus, the great Minnesota greats, even now that the Minnesota waters have fallen considerably with the new reservoir syndrome, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, which I understand it. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. But how long does it take to raise a 50-incher in northern Wisconsin? You just don't even see them. And it's like, that just makes you wonder. They follow baits. They might not eat it, but... Yeah. You go out on Vermilion, Robbie, and
you see one in a couple days.
Yeah, you've seen our videos. You go throw a flap 9 on Vermilion, and there's going to be a 52, 55-incher paddling in behind it.
Right.
Every couple, 2-3 days.
Sure. Yeah, a couple evenings. That's all it takes.
Yeah. And how come we do not see those fish in northern Wisco waters? I just don't think they're there.
I agree with you 100%.
I would agree. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
I fished hard up here and I didn't see a single fish that knocked on 50. Granted, I caught the one, but that's November and, sucker fishing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting this year. I'm definitely going to spend a lot more time on, trophy water. Those action lakes are cool, but I don't know. I want to see what's still out here and it'll be interesting. Right. It'll be interesting. That's all I got to say.
I think you got a 50 last year.
Yes. Correct? Yep. November 23rd. Yeah. Yep. 23rd.
Let me tell you, when I'm down here in Florida, Sunday mornings, early afternoon.
Sure.
I got a 55-inch TV.
That's so awesome.
Angler, I blow that thing up. I get to watch guys in true size.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
So, I watch your video.
Yeah.
Listen, technically, like I said, I'm from a different era, just like Larry Ramsell and the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
Because of my health and stuff, I chose not to. I don't want to learn about how to do YouTube. Not that I don't enjoy it. It's just that. But I really enjoy watching my wife, who is very technically advanced.
Yeah.
She turns on YouTube on the TV, and I get to watch you guys
here
in Florida. The people down here are blown away with what you guys are doing. This thing is getting bigger and bigger for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's steadily growing.
Podcasting in today's angler.
Steadily. Yeah. Yep. For sure.
You pass on really good information to people. You tell them like it is, and you do bring issues up like this. We were going to talk about. We talked last night, Robbie and I. Lee, I called you. I talked to you also. We were just going to talk about the good old days. Mm-hmm. Good old days were the big fish that we had in our water.
Incredible. Right.
And I even show you half the pictures I had from the monsters that used to come from the Chippewa flowage. 45, 46 pounders,
Incredible animals.
I got the pictures.
Yeah.
But even today, we're not getting those fish.
Not seeing it. It's got to be, it's definitely a lack of. It's a lack of, and maybe something else, and maybe these fisheries have changed. Obviously the spearing's a big thing. I don't know. Maybe all those fish killed back then is still. It takes 28 years to get a super mega.
How big do you say, Robbie?
Like what? Herbeck, his 47 pounder, they aged at 28. So I mean,
Right. Long time.
Takes forever to get some of these, and obviously those fish were getting exploited because they weren't really fished that hard in 80s to 90s, and maybe that's hurting us maybe that's hurting us today. Obviously
Still
it is.
Today.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of big fish that were killed in Vilas County. Listen, when I finally left Vilas County, I had to. It was getting that bad. And, I had kids.
Yep.
And, I had to make sure I took care of those kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Minnesota, and that's when I started in the concrete business. And that's where a lot of issues have come from today.
Oh, really?
You're still in the muskie world, muskie business, and I could fish as much as I wanted to because I was in the union.
Sure.
And so I could go, and I had a superintendent that was a big fisherman as well.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
That was my time where I got to really fish in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course I worked in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, watching what went on and up there, I saw the other side of everything.
Yep.
I saw what was going on. And there's a lot of people that depend upon media to tell them the story.
Sure.
The problem, the media is not telling the story.
Sure.
Well, they're telling their agenda, their side. I lived it. My kids went through the school system.
Yep.
We saw the things that were going on that lit up the problems.
Mm-hmm.
Spearing did cause a lot of problems locally.
Yeah.
And look, back in those days, there was a resort on virtually every lake you'd go to, 3, 4, 5 resorts. They're not there no more.
No, that's the saddest
There's a
part.
reason why.
Yeah.
Yes, it was hard.
It's very sad how many are not even up here anymore. I know Larry's discussed that as well. It's.
I made a living from guiding full time.
Yeah.
If you told me back in 1993 that I was not going to make a living from guiding, be able to feed my family and pay my bills, I told you that you were crazy.
Because the fishing was that good.
Yes,
right.
It was that good.
Yep.
And my customers were happy, and I didn't have to bang on a drum and make a lot of noise. I just took my fishing and did my thing.
Yep, for sure.
Well, look what's happened in Madison. I mean, this fishery here, granted, I multi-species guided. I guided walleye and smallmouth just as much as I guided muskie, other than maybe the later years of my guiding. But, the job they have done to make this, definitely one of the best fisheries within the state. A lot of effort went into that. A lot of people worked their butts off across the board, and we're seeing the results now. So it's it can be done.
Yes.
Oh, I'm impressed with the Madison fishery. For me to travel from northern Wisconsin and come down to the Madison chain, it was almost hard for me to go back.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm feeling it. I know I am.
But here's the thing. We've got other waters in the state of Wisconsin that they could probably stock muskies into on Alaska, 7,000 acres. I think would be prime, prime fishery. Why aren't they stocking them there?
That's in the native strain, I believe, right?
There's a native population in there.
Yeah.
And you and I discussed that last night.
What's the other one? Lake Pepin?
Sure.
Well, here's interesting about Lake Pepin. You guys, we were talking about the Leech Lake strain.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was with Larry and Pete.
Yep.
So the first Wisconsin chapter of Muskies Inc. was stocking leechers up in Lake Wissota.
Yep.
Now, there was talk that the program failed. It didn't fail. Those fish, leechers, I think, if I'm not mistakenly, those fish are roamers. And they keep roaming and find what they want.
Yeah.
And if they just keep roaming, well, the Chippewa River, they would go through the dams. Those fish went down into the Mississippi. The Chippewa dumps into the Mississippi.
Their native river.
Right.
Fish coming up out of Lake Pepin. Why is that?
Right.
I think it's the leechers that.
Oh, recent years, Pepin's had some fish catches.
Yeah. Oh, you bet.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I have to look
I have to look at the map. Yeah, let's see how that.
Robbie,
wow.
I've got a large network like Lee does. I talk to people. There's been some really large muskies,
and they're all spots.
Yes,
Holy crap! Really?
There's spots around Wisconsin that aren't even getting touched because people wouldn't look at them because they say, well, there's no muskies there.
Sure.
Yes, muskies travel.
Yep.
And
yeah, they like current.
Yes, they do. That's what they're originally a muskie is a riverine fish.
Right.
On a travel, especially leechers. So I've heard them say that it wasn't a success, but I look at muskies they're catching south of Lake Wissota. They're getting some fish. They're just keeping it just quiet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Give away anybody's spots. There's so many possibilities that they could make Wisconsin great again.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Make muskie fishing great again.
If the guys would get together and make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Is that how that goes?
How many muskie groups are there in Wisconsin, Lee?
That's a good question. I don't know
that
answer. 20.
There's a lot of chapters.
Muskie Alliance too. I mean, that thing's giant.
Wisconsin Muskie. If they look what they did in Green Bay. I remember when they started that project on Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
A guy by the name of Lynn Munger was involved in that. And I remember coming up, going fishing with me up on, I went with them on the Eagle River chain. And I remember that he went through the talking stages. He was involved with one of the clubs. Look at the fishery today.
Oh, yeah. Out of a few people talking about it. No, that's great. Yeah. Good point.
Wisconsin can be there again. But I think, number one, the muskie fishermen, the Muskies Inc. groups need to
all be on the same page.
They all have the same passion.
Yep.
But there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Sure.
Need to get it together.
Yep.
And get one program set up. They need to work with the DNR. They need to tell the DNR this is what we want.
Yep.
And they can make it happen.
Yeah.
If they want
there's money. There's money for it. Without a doubt.
Exactly. So,
well, I think that's a wonderful point to stop. Those are that's some good closing words. Absolutely. Gosh.
Yeah, the money's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Hey, by the way, did Chris Farley catch a muskie?
Yeah, he caught 3 muskies with me. I was going to tell you about this. Okay?
Yeah, I like this story actually.
He would get on the water. First of all, he was always late, and I'd say, Chris, let's get on the water by 7:00, and he'd be like, okay, and he'd show up at 8:30, 8:45.
Yeah.
So we get on the water, and we'd fish for about 3 hours, and then he'd go, Rich, let's go have some lunch, and he goes, where do you want to go? He'd always want to go to Little Muskie Bar at 70 and 51. Well, I knew that was going to be a problem because if the minute he walked in there, we were out within the hour. We'd get to lunch at 1:30.
Yeah.
And he's still sitting there at 7:00 at night.
Yeah.
But that was fun for him. So.
Yeah. That's
so
cool.
you know what? It was heartbreaking to me because he really was a great guy.
Yeah.
He had a big heart and he had a good soul.
Yeah.
And it just blew me away when, with that whole situation. So
sure. Yeah.
I've been very fortunate. I've gotten to spend some time with some very unique people in the boat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I've been
Do you
very
have any pictures of Chris Farley?
Well, when I see you at the show, I'll tell you about that in a separate conversation.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But it was something that you and I will talk about privately.
Perfect.
That's funny. Yeah, I'll tell you something. I'll give you a good example. I spoke at the Notre Dame. There was a guy that had a fishing show over in Notre Dame every year in Michigan, and he had me speak over there. And as we were going over, I made the comment about that it would be good to see Jimmy Houston and Bill Dance again, and those guys. I haven't seen them in a long time. And so I could tell in the vehicle on the drive over there, like, yeah, whatever, sure, whatever. Yeah. When we got there, we all got set up, and Jimmy Houston saw me standing there, and he comes over there with his typical laugh. That's what made Jimmy, was his laugh.
Yeah.
He goes, brother, where have you been? He said, peacock fishing. And Daryl Middlestead and Greg Bone and all those guys, their jaws just hit the floor when that happened.
Funny.
Because, like I said,
Lee,
I've been around a long time. But when actually I get into my life, I really don't talk much about it. I just do my thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. I've been
very interesting life
there.
It really is. It really is. So I think I remember when you started, Lee, I thought you were just one of these young kids again.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Oh, yeah.
And I look at now, listen, Lee, I've got mad respect for you. You've done a phenomenal job at this.
What was the story again?
Yeah.
Rich is trying to not let me tell it. I was at, I might have been at the Chicago Muskie show, I believe it was. I was with Troy Spildy, I think, and I met Rich, and Troy was like, yeah, he's a muskie guy in Madison. And Rich comes up to me, and he gets kind of in my face, and he's like, so you're a muskie guide, huh? All right, well, good luck with that. Something like that. Something to that effect.
You know what? First of all, it's hard enough to be a muskie guide in northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
This guy's going to be a muskie guide on
Madison. Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my God. But you know what? He's got the tenacity and the determination, and he did it.
Yeah,
and that's what I respect for what he's done. Everything that I think some of you guys that are doing today, and even with that, that's why I have guys like Lee speaking at the Wisconsin Muskie Expo or the Muskie Bash, just because I know that you guys are going to give them honest information.
Yep.
You're not going to give them the TV answer per se.
Right. Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We tell it like
Yep.
There was a lot of that back when it first all started.
Sure.
Magic I'm just
lures,
cut from that, But no, I think you've done a wonderful job, and I wish I had the technology, back then that you guys have had today.
No, it's amazing. Yeah, could you imagine GoPros back in the 80s? Some of these animals.
Listen, those things that we didn't even discuss that I told you last night, Robbie.
Yeah.
About, say, like, you asked about the Chippewa flowage, what's going on there. There's a multitude of things that are going on in the Chippewa flowage. Considering what the Chippewa flowage has been through, it's amazing that the fishery just keeps on going. It's a very resilient body of water. I think it's got a bright future if they continue to manage it.
Yep.
But there was a lot of things that happened to the Chippewa flowage that, made it an extremely tough body of water to fish.
Mm-hmm.
That's why guys would hire guides on the flowage.
Right.
And that in itself is another story. It's not a story, it's the facts. But But here's the thing, Lee and I, we were there. And I think the biggest thing that I see today that some of these younger muskie fishermen need to understand, that even though that, like in my case, I'm getting older, and there's a lot of older muskie fishermen out there.
Yep.
At one time, they used to be young.
Sure.
And they did the same things that they're doing today. You know what? When, Bulldog's a very good, piece of rubber. Medusa. But we had vipers back then. We had fish baits. We fished rubber.
Yeah.
They don't know about what that stuff is.
Sure.
We fished big blades. I mean, tinsel. I remember when the revolution of tinsel came out.
Mm-hmm.
We had Chuck Hamer came out with the very first tinsel bucktails back in the 70s.
Sure.
He was before his time. So there's really nothing new in muskie fishing.
Right.
Just refined.
Yes, it's more refined. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
But those old timers that you see today, we are the history of muskie fishing.
For sure. That was a crazy time.
yes, we saw what was available back then. We watched what happened back then.
I mean,
we were aware.
That time frame probably exploded muskie fishing throughout the U.S. just from that one area.
Yes, it did.
It's amazing,
yes,
really. What couple counties, made it that popular.
It's exactly it.
Yeah.
And it's just,
it's sad to see that it's not.
You know what? I
like
miss those days, Robbie. I really do, because muskie fishing is life to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely you guys. Yeah. I see it in you, Robbie. I see your cleanness. You eat this up.
It's a drug, without a doubt.
Right. But you know what? We were you in our younger days.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, but the difference is we've got longevity. We watched the history.
How it all happened. Yeah.
Well, hopefully things can continue onward and upward. I know there's a lot more awareness now, and there's a lot more ability for people to reach out and to share opinions, facts, so on with all the platforms. So that's what we're just trying to do here. So
yeah, no,
I think you guys do an excellent job. I can't believe you're not afraid to do it. I think a lot of guys politically they want to be politically correct.
Sure,
and it's not about being politically correct.
No, I just want to hear everyone's experiences.
Right. Exactly.
What they've seen. No, it's cool to hear about it. I enjoy hearing all the stories. Like, it's just so fun to me to hear this stuff. But
so Randy, you're not going to come to the Muskie Show.
No, I'll be
in the Florida Keys. I hear.
I'll be in Florida. Yeah.
Let me tell you what. It's interesting. My wife, she'll tell you she loves the salt life. She always says, "I love
salt life." Oh yeah.
You never know what you're going to catch.
Yep.
We've got big bass down here. I know I talked to this, it was in my head, this Jake Brave, he wants to go gator hunting, and we're probably going to do that this next season. And there's just so much to do down here.
So much,
But even though there's so much to do, I still
love the muskie.
Critter.
It's my muskie.
Life. Stupid. It will always be my life.
Yep, absolutely. No,
well, Rich, we want to say a big thanks for you sharing some insights on your history and the history of muskies through your eyes.
Yeah.
And I know you've done a lot for the industry, and of course the Wausau Muskie Show, 10 years strong, and you guys have worked so hard for that. And now to have just a little bit downsized version in the only muskie show coming up, the Wausau Muskie Bash on March 19th and 20th. In Rothschild, Wisconsin, at the Wisconsin Convention and Expo Center. Looking forward to that. I'll be there Saturday. Swing by. But yeah, thanks for everything.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. You. Yeah.
Hey, when you come up, if you had a chance, if you got any, I think I ordered 3 baits from you, right? If you get those done, great. If you don't, I understand. I know you're packed. If you get them, great.
Yeah,
should be able to make a couple of them happen anyway.
Yeah,
that's cool. Okay. I appreciate that. So
yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. You can stream this on Spotify, Apple, or Podbean. Obviously, you probably watched on YouTube as well. Rich, thank you. This is fun.
Thank you, Robbie. Thanks, Lee.
Hit the subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one. Yeah, absolutely. Get to the Muskie Show.